Welcome everybody back to the Dragon's Lair. My name is Wade, and this is my show Let's Talk, where we talk about Warhammer 40k, and I talk about Tyranids. I also talk about Necrons. Go ahead and check out my Necron playlist, but here we're talking about Tyranids. Okay, I'm a Xenos player. I do have Imperial Guard, but I'm a Xenos player. Anyways, I love Tyrant Guard, and it's not because they're awesome, it's because in many times and places they're necessary. Tyrant Guard, in my opinion, is like spending points to make your tyrant more livable. You're putting extra wounds on your tyrant. And they can be useful, but most of my Tyrant Guard die, and then my tyrant dies. But point is, it can keep your tyrant alive. um, so let's talk about it. Movement 6. Now, pay attention to this problem that you're going to see. A regular walking Hive Tyrant moves 8, and Tyrant Guard moves 6. A Neuro Tyrant moves 6, and he flies, and even though he's leading the unit, he does not give fly to the entire unit, so just keep that in mind. Tyrant Guard are designed to become a unit with a Hive Tyrant or a Neuro Tyrant. Winged Hive Tyrants cannot lead a unit of Tyrant Guard, so keep that in mind. um, I think they're pretty. I'll give you strategies in a second. Let's talk about the stat line. So move 6, keep in mind, you're probably going to have to advance them to keep them out in front of a regular tyrant. They have no ranged weapons, so if you advance them, the tyrant can still move and shoot because I use a heavy venom cannon on my tyrant. It still gives the tyrant his shots, and so they have no guns. So it's probably worth your time to advance around everywhere you go, just because the guard will be able to keep up with the tyrant. Tough 8, it's not great, but keep in mind that the unit, when people are shooting at it, the unit is going to have a tough 8. You don't adopt the leader's toughness. You go with the majority units or models in the unit, and then when all the tyrant are dead, or all the tyrant guard are dead, the attacks will go against the tyrant. So the unit's going to be tough 8 until all the guard are dead. Weapon skill 3, or save 3. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It's a great place to start off. Wound 4, keep in mind, wound 4. So the basic unit of Tyrant Guard is going to start off with 3 guys. You can pump it up to 6. I almost thought I had 6 fingers on this hand. Keep that in mind. So you're adding extra wounds to your tyrant is really what you're doing here. Leadership 8, it's irrelevant because you're going to be in Synapse almost 100% of the time. You're rolling on 3d6, and I believe you take the leader's leadership. So the Hive Tyrant is clocking it at a 7 on 3 dice. You're pretty good. Never failed one in 10th. Not for a unit that was in Synapse. I failed one for a unit of Gaunts that was like way out there somewhere, but didn't matter. OC1. Keep in mind a Tyrant is rocking an OC of 3. So then you're talking about a OC of 6 if you have 3 guard and a Tyrant standing on an objective. So it's not terrible, but it's not great. It's better than OC 0. Now with the weapons, looking at the weapons, I like Crushing Claws. Okay, I can see a good argument for Bone Cleaver Lash Whip. And I think Scything Talons is the least of the group here because, look at it this way. I'm going to say Scything Talons is the least good. Bone Cleaver is medium good. 3 attacks, weapon skill 3, strength 5, which means you're wounding Marines on a 3. AP is not great, but anything that gets through, you will kill a Marine. You'll kill a whole Marine because it's 2 damage. So that's my middle of the road option. Keep in mind, I am shooting all these videos as if we're doing Invasion Fleet, and I'm almost always going to choose Swarming Instincts. So keep in mind any 6s that you roll is going to turn into Sustained Hits 1, so you get an extra hit. And I actually get a lot of extra hits. It's only against infantry. Keep that in mind. Anyways, Crushing Claws is where I'm at. It's only 2 attacks. You know, weapon skill 4. That's the high side of average. That's not bad, and you can pimp that. Strength 8. So you're double toughing Marines. You're wounding Marines on 2s. AP2. So I always say AP1 is good, AP2 is better, AP3 or higher is best. So good, better, best. And 2 damage. So you're going to outright kill Marine. Where this kind of becomes really cool is if you put them with a Neuro Tyrant. The Neuro Tyrant has this ability called Node Lash. So they give a +1 to the attacks of models in their unit. So really, your weapon skill 4 becomes a weapon skill 3 on a Neuro Tyrant. And if your opponent is battle shocked, you get a +1 to the wound. So you're wounding on 2 pluses, and anything that would give you a -1 is now negated out. So you there's some double up there. I like Crushing Claws. I use Crushing Claws on my Tyrant Guard. That's what I use. So going over to faction abilities, you see Synapse. When Synapse appears there, it means it benefits from Synapse. And I say this on every video, and the reason why I do is, one, I care about you as a player, and I want you to be the best that you can be. Also, if I learned, one of the big things I learned, I have a video about my experience at a Rogue Trader tournament. I had a great experience at my local shop, AFK Games in Lansing, Michigan. Love them. But one of the big things that I learned there is nobody knows what Tyranids do. Nobody knows. Like they know their army, which is cool. You should know your army, but nobody knows what Tyranids do. So you got to be on your game to know your stuff the right way, because so few people were looking at me like, that's a Horus faction, this is a Exocrine, and that's a, and they're like, I have no idea what those models are. And I was like, nobody knows what these things are. Like, I know, I can identify models from other armies. Like, I know a lot of models from other armies. But anyways, know your stuff. So you have to look in the keywords. If you see keywords Synapse, that means this model gives Synapse. If you see it in, oh geez, I always point wrong. If you see it in faction abilities, that means it benefits from Synapse. Anyways, Guardian Organism. While a character model, it's always going to be a Hive Tyrant or a Neuro Tyrant. Model is leading this unit. The character model has Feel No Pain 5+. So that's against sniper rifles and any precision. I mean, so good news. They'll help keep your Tyrant alive a little bit longer. Like I said, in the end, I think Tyrant Guard, I love them because they help my Tyrant stay alive. And a lot of times what you can do is use them to screen your Tyrant. So have your 3 Tyrant Guard up close to the enemy, have your Tyrant in the second row. Then if you get charged by some bad mamma jammas, like some Terminators, for example, then that stuff is going to go into the Tyrant Guard. And then the Tyrant will be touching a model that is within combat range. So then all the Tyrant's attacks will be able to go into the attack, and you're still saving your Tyrant. Potentially there's a situation there where the Guard die, and because the Guard die and the Tyrant is not within combat range, I know I'm saying the wrong word, but it's not within the 1 inch, then the Tyrant is no longer in combat. There's situations there. So, I mean, you can play it out to your advantage. Because I play Invasion Fleet, I'm going to tell you that my Tyrant will basically use Rapid Regen for free, because the Tyrant gives ability for a stratagem at 0 cost once per turn. And I am going to use Rapid Regen, like, every time, for free, on my unit, to keep the Guard alive as long as possible. You'd think Tough 8 would be really good, but it's not as good as you think it would be. Ballistic Dreadnoughts, Plasma Cannons, Hellblasters, like, yeah. So, I think Tyrant Guard with a Tyrant is really good at holding an objective, like mid-ground objective. With that Venom Cannon, you can chug on either sides. You know, we don't have a Shard Gullet anymore, but, you know, whatevs. I think they're great. I take them. I use them. I think they're wonderful. And like I said, I think Rapid Regeneration is probably your best way to go. I really enjoy sharing this content with you guys, and you know, if you have any comments, any opinions, put them down in the comments. We here at the Dragon's Lair understand that you are pretty busy, so you can spend your time anywhere on the internet. Thank you for spending your time here with us at the Dragon's Lair.